can't just shut the fuck up! I gotta kill it. I'm gonna kill this fucking game once and for all. Just fucking die! 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 Fucking die! 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 Fuck this game. What the fuck was that? Oh shit! No, stay away from me. Stay away from me, you god awful game. No. Get away, I don't want to play you, get away! No! Please don't come any closer! No!
Well, I'm glad I could interrupt that little homage to Friday the 13th Part 6 to bring you another overly long video about me bitching about a video game. I could be, fighting crime, or trying to find the guy who killed my Uncle Ben, or maybe applying for a college, but no, I'm complaining about Final Fantasy games like an adult. And no, I'm not just some Final Fantasy hater. I used to love the series. I love the older games, and I like 8 even though it has a lot of flaws. But ever since 7, it's like Square Enix has been working harder and harder to make their stories and their characters worse and worse, and I hate it when a good series starts to turn in a way that's not really evolving and more so pandering. As you know, I hated Final Fantasy XIII. It's up there as one of my most hated games. Terrible characters, an incoherent plot, lousy gameplay, and the most linear, boring world I have ever seen in a video game. It's a piece of shit that should have stayed dead. But in typical Square Enix fashion, if it sells, give it a sequel. Final Fantasy XIII-2. Wow, cause, the end of 13 just had too many loose ends. Did anyone want this? Who looked at the ending to 13 and said, there's just so much more I want out of this? The plot of 13 made no sense at all, but it wrapped itself up at least. Why did we need this? I know why. Because this company is run by a bunch of assholes who would sell their children if it meant you bought a copy of Advent Children on Blu-ray. You fuckbags. The amount of money that was put into making this fucking game, and we could have been using it for much better things. We could have donated it to the suicide hotline because anyone who plays this piece of shit would obviously want to kill themselves. We could have used that money to cure cancer, but instead we made a game that causes cancer. Fuck this stupid game. But hey, this is a new chance to fix the world they invented in the previous game and improve the franchise by altering the gameplay back to how it used to be in the more classic RPGs that Square used to make. So how did it turn out? Well, I'll be honest, the gameplay is better. But the story is somehow even worse than the first one. How the fuck did you make a story even worse than 13? Well, I can sum that up in 2 words. Time travel. Oh yes, time travel. You know why? Because it worked in Chrono Trigger, and if it worked in Chrono Trigger, that means it will work in everything we try to shoehorn it into. It worked so well when you guys put time travel in 8 for no reason. So now you combine the convoluted writing from Final Fantasy XIII with the complexities of time travel. Fuck you. Just fuck you. That is just pure evil. So now here we are. Before we begin, I will make it known that I will acknowledge when something is better or worse than the first 13. But also remember that just because something is better than 13 doesn't mean it's good. Eating dog shit is better than playing Final Fantasy XIII, but that doesn't mean I'm about to replace my Nutella with last night's kibbles and bits. But let's just get this over with. I introduce you to Final Fantasy XIII-2. Oh, God. Are you one of those people that loved Lightning with her badass gunblade? Look at her kill these fucking guys. Watch her punch Snow. Oh, God, she's so fucking cool. She doesn't give a shit. She's an unstoppable killing machine. She'll take out anyone who's in her way. She's a total badass who kicked your ass so hard you'll be digging shoelaces out of your colon. She's not afraid. She's not a wimp. She's not in this game. No, not really. I can see why you would think that. After all, she is the only one on the fucking cover again. But no, she's in the first 10 minutes maybe, and then she's gone. You play maybe one battle with her, and that's it. Personally, I don't care, because I didn't like Lightning anyway, but it definitely is false advertisement to put her on the fucking cover and then start the game off with her if she's not going to be involved in the rest of it. In fact, the entire cast of the first 13 are barely in this. I mean, you see them every once in a while, but you never get to play as them. I guess I don't mind so much because I hated almost all of them anyway. The less I have to hear of Vanille's Lolita giggling, the better. So okay, if none of the cast from 13 is in this game, then who is? I'll have to ask my good friend, veteran actor Jeff Goldblum. So Jeff, who do we play as in Final Fantasy XIII-2?
Sarah!
Who's Sarah? Oh, fuck. Her. Yes, our new main character is Lightning's sister, Sarah. I can't say I understand why. Was anyone really demanding to play as Sarah? Probably not. No one was demanding this game in the first place. It's really weird, but I guess it's the best possible choice out of any of the other characters in this stupid universe. God knows no one is itching to play as Godot, or, her, or, yeah, this guy. And the names in this universe suck. So how is Sarah? Honestly, she's fine. I'm being serious. She's kind of sweet, but also determined and strong. She has hopes and displays a lot of bravery, even when she's scared. She makes efforts to help people, and you really learn how selfless she is as the game progresses. The total opposite of Lightning, who wanted to kill millions of people because some evil robot guy kind of annoyed her. Sarah isn't perfect, though. There are definitely times in the story where she comes off as an idiot and gullible, and don't even get me started on the stupid outfit they put her in, but she's not too bad. I actually prefer her over Lightning. Sure, she's not a badass character, but at least she is a character and not some cardboard cutout like her sister is. At least there's something there. I can get behind that. Our next character is Noel. Wait, who the fuck is Noel? Oh. So he's the adult version of Sora from Kingdom Hearts? Nah, he's some dude from the future. Apparently, he's the last of humanity. Because he certainly looks like a guy who has dealt with nothing but the wild all his life. Well, Noel is okay at best. He has some optimism too, but it's not as visible as Sarah's because he spends a lot of time moping. He's definitely brave and does have a few badass moments. A refreshing thing about Noel is that he's actually fairly intelligent. He does make some rational decisions and likes to think a lot of things through. My problem is that he has so many irrational things to bitch about that it kind of weighs him down. He just broods a little too much, but he's not the worst. He's okay. Our next character is... Yeah, we don't really get one. No, I'm serious. You only use Noel and Sarah throughout the entire game. That's kind of fucking lame. Remember when you actually had a party of characters? Welcome to just having two. We have less characters than we did in Final Fantasy X-2. And fuck this game for making me bring up Final Fantasy X-2. No, the monsters do not count. And we'll get into those in a little bit, but I'm just going over the cast of XIII-2 versus 13. This is better. I don't hate either one of them, and I guess having only two characters means we get some kind of development between them and see a relationship grow. They also gain a Moogle named Mog. No, he's not as cool as the Mog from Final Fantasy VI. He turns into a bow sword for Sarah so she can use him for combat, and Noel uses these dual swords. I will say that when I see Mog, it takes me out of the game a bit. A lot of that has to do with his design and him turning into a weapon. You may be thinking, but it's the classic Moogle design from the older games, and you're right. And if we look at another RPG like Skies of Arcadia, Fena's physical attack is her companion Cupil, who turns into weapons too. So why do I have a problem with Mog? One word: tone. This game has a severe problem with tone. Skies of Arcadia is a very light-hearted adventure game with a simple story, likable characters, and a colorful tone. Final Fantasy XIII-2 does have some light-hearted designs, but the story and characters take themselves way too seriously, and all the designs are so convoluted and complicated that a character like Mog really stands out because of his cute and simplistic design. You can't really take the game too seriously when it has goofy things like this. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, the early Final Fantasy games had goofy things in them and a more serious tone. You're right. Final Fantasy VII has a lot of goofy things in it, but it has a plot that can be taken very seriously. How come it was okay in that game, but not in this game? Well, here's the thing. Final Fantasy VII did not try to have a realistic design. Taking the mini character models out of the equation, the designs for the characters in Final Fantasy VII were very exaggerated. I mean, look at Barrett in Final Fantasy VII versus him in Advent Children. They look almost nothing alike because his design is so cartoony that trying to ground him in some kind of reality doesn't work. Also, another big thing is the character reactions. I love the cast of Final Fantasy VII because of what defined characters they are. I can take all of them seriously, but I also know they have over-the-top goofy reactions. Barrett and Cid constantly lose their temper and swear up a storm, which adds some kind of levity to the story. There is also a lot of goofiness in the side characters. It's clear that from the characters' behavior and the designs that we are placed in an exaggerated kind of world. So when you see Moogles or giant chickens, it doesn't take you that far out of it. It feels kind of natural. Especially if you're an anime fan, these types of things are kind of easier to accept. In XIII-2, there's no real levity throughout the entire game. This game has way too many monologues, too many sad moments, too many long, serious speeches. And I'm sorry, I can't take any of this shit seriously when there's a flying Hello Kitty just in the background with the baby's voice saying Kupo, Kupo over and over again. Maybe if Sarah and Noel lightened up a bit at some points, it would be easier to accept this stuff. Maybe if their reactions were a bit more over the top sometimes, we could accept all the goofiness around them. But no, they ignore and act like all this stuff is super serial, guys. Sheesh, even villains like Kefka had more lighthearted elements to them than these two. But I guess I've gone off on a tangent. I guess despite the fact that I think the characters take themselves too seriously, they're fine. They aren't memorably likable, but they aren't memorably hateable either. I guess that's the best thing I can say about them. If you remember correctly, I really dug into 13 for having a bland and forgettable soundtrack that really didn't fit the series and came off as pretentious. Boy, I never thought I would miss forgettable. The soundtrack of 13-2 is so bad, it is laughable. The music in this game is so fucking lame. It's full of a bunch of shitty songs sung with really uninspired lyrics. It's fucking putrid. And is it me, or does it sound like this song is taken straight from Sonic Adventure? And if you thought the techno shit in 13 was bad, it's even worse here. Half of the music in this game sounds like some shitty dubstep song some asshole with big glasses whipped up in his spare time. Why did this become a thing in Final Fantasy games? I mean, yeah, 7 had some kind of techno shit in it, but most of it was drowned out in orchestration. I think 8 really started this with Laguna's fights. I mean, listen to it. It sounds like Cher. 8 also introduced songs with lyrics. Granted, they only used it once and for one scene, and the song actually wasn't too bad. 10 is where it started getting ridiculous with this over-the-top heavy metal shit. But little did we know, it was building up to the most hardcore metal thing in the world. The most badass and heavy song in the entire existence of humanity. I'm talking about crazy, goddamn, motherfucking, cunt-punching Chocobo!
Put the greens and let him go. Stand back, stand clear as he puts on the show. So cute yet fierce and seen from hell. I cannot tell yet, I don't even want to know. I see you wanna be a trailblazer. Kick the dirt like a hellraiser. Take the reins, but don't react slow. It's time to feel the force of the Chocobo. So you think you can ride this Chocobo? Got Chocobo, watch you better put him on the Chocobo. Settle up if you think you can ride in this rodeo. Oh, you know, I don't know till the doors are cold. If you think you're gonna hide this Chocobo, everybody's gonna wanna ride your Chocobo. It's Choco Loco style in the Choco Rodeo. Ride 'em
It's so awful! Oh my god, it's glorious! This is it, people! This is the legacy of the Final Fantasy series! A heavy metal song about giant chickens! Are you fucking shitting me? I mean, don't get me wrong, I should be angry. I really should. But this song is so fucking pathetic, it's not even worth the effort to get mad. It's just hilarious that someone got paid to make this. Someone got paid to sing this. Someone got paid to write these lyrics. This is amazing. Oh man, I love how terrible it is. This is the type of song you put on to make fun of. Heavy metal chocobo songs. Are you kidding me? What's next? Hardcore gangster rap chocobo songs? It would be like if someone made a rap dance number out of Zelda. Jesus died in vain. Now, if we can go back to taking this kind of serious, the music in this game is awful. Most of the original songs in this game are dubstep or metal shit, and then a lot of it is carried over straight from 13. I'll give the title screen track credit, it sounded fine, but everything else is bad. This game even ends with another pop song, and if you thought the last one didn't fit, oh man, this one is even more jarring. This may very well be one of the worst video game soundtracks I have ever heard. You can defend the story and characters all you want, fanboys, but you will never be able to tell me that this shit is good. The combat in this game is carried straight over from Final Fantasy XIII, so there really isn't too much to say about this. It's a bit more balanced than the last game, but it still sucks. You don't do anything in combat but switch formations and let the computer do all the work. I probably went 5 hours in this game just hammering the X button before I finally got to an opponent that required some kind of strategy. And even then, it's just switching formations, then hammering X again. It's so fucking boring. I'll never understand how this system got the praise it did. There were times I would go in other rooms of my house to do things where I would bring the controller with me and just hammer X. Then when I got back to my TV, I won the battle. You can literally win half of these encounters blindfolded. Also, this game still has the same star rating and point system bullshit the other one did, and it's even more useless here because it doesn't really seem to affect anything. What's really insulting is that the battles half the time say that their estimated battle time is only 30 seconds. Well then what the fuck's the point of it? How about you give me something worth fighting instead of wasting my goddamn time? Also, the star rating is so inconsistent. It can have an estimated battle time of 2.5 minutes, and if I beat the monster in 30 seconds, I get a 3-star rating. The fuck? I literally beat the monster 5 times faster than you expected. And since the stars don't really do anything, I can only assume that this was put there solely to piss off the players. Fuck you, Square Enix! And just like the last game, all the monsters have convoluted names and the numbers are way too high. Why not, instead of 10,000 health for a common monster, give it like 1,000? And instead of my character doing 5,000 damage, he do 500. After 5 digits, it just becomes a numeric blur, especially at the speed these battles go by. So that's all the shit that's carried over from 13. What are the new features though? Well, for starters, the monsters actually drop gil, which is nice. There are random encounters again, however, they aren't like traditional random encounters. They have a chance of being avoided if you can run away. What happens is that enemies suddenly appear on the map and you can either attack them with your sword to get a preemptive attack, which will start you off with haste and bring their stagger meter halfway up, or you can try to run away, but if they catch you, the retry option is locked. I actually think this is a good balance for random encounters, and it's definitely a more new age way to do it. I know a lot of gamers didn't like random encounters because they could be really annoying, and I do agree with that, but I also like the fact that they force you to level your characters. They stop you from being a gamer who just tries to rush through the whole game. Even Chrono Trigger, a game that had enemies on the map like 13, still had some sections where enemies ambushed you and forced you to fight. Oh, but Randy's Spider-Man, how come you didn't mind the enemies on the map in Chrono Trigger, but you didn't like them in Final Fantasy XIII? Because 1, Chrono Trigger had tons of free space and areas without enemies at all, and it wasn't a fucking straight line. 2, the enemies in Chrono Trigger were not put there solely so you would be at the exact level the programmers wanted you to be at. And 3, Chrono Trigger had a great combat system and 13's sucked. Even with the random encounters back, I'm still stuck using the same shitty combat system. Careful what you wish for, kids. Also, the range of these random encounters is bullshit. The monsters can be so far out of your circle, yet you somehow still get the encounter anyway.
especially in Academia 400 AF. The random encounters are unavoidable and incredibly frequent, that just trying to make any sort of progress in a level is incredibly frustrating, with no way to turn them off. They should have let you buy monster repellent from the stores like in the Pokemon series. Speaking of Pokemon, another new feature is monster collecting. It's this sort of Pokemon style system where you can catch a monster you encounter. Each monster is a certain class and has abilities that can be used, and they basically function as your third party member in combat. When you create paradigms, there is now this thing called paradigm packs that let you choose which 3 monsters you're going to vary between when you shift paradigms. It's actually not too bad, but why would anyone bother making one a Saboteur or a Synergist when Noel and Sarah are much better at doing those roles anyway? I kind of just kept one as Sentinel because God knows I don't feel like being the damage sponge. One welcome change is that now if your leader dies, it's not game over. It brings you to the next leader. So if Noel dies in combat, you don't lose, you go to Sarah. Now if both of them die, it's game over. Why not just let us use the monsters? I don't see why not since they all share the same health bar anyway. I don't know. I guess I don't mind the monster collecting system, but a lot of the potential for it has been squandered. Yeah, you can customize them a bit by giving them these little hats and shit, but they don't do anything. They have no effect on them. They kind of just make them look cuter, I guess. But this customization is so limiting. You can't even name your monsters. Yeah, you can pick a name from a list, but that's it. Why? Why can't I just name the monster whatever I want? It's not like the characters ever say the monsters' names anyway. Why can't I name these guys? I had such great names for them too. Like this guy is Ectocum, and this guy is Satanic Puppy Dick, and this guy is the artist formerly known as Crazy Chocobo. Or Chocobitch if that doesn't fit. But the worst part about these monsters is that every single goddamn one of them has their own fucking Crystarium to use. Fuck the Crystarium and this manual leveling bullshit they've been shoving down our throats since fucking 10. And just like 10, you level monsters up with items you get after combat. But what's annoying about it is that the monsters of higher classes need more rare items to level them. Why bother though when you can just take a weaker monster and level the fuck out of him with easy to find items? It's just a waste of time. My Twilight Odin went to waste because I couldn't find any items to level him with. I just leveled up one of those goblin hole ball fist things and he was just as good as Noel and Sarah. My Dark Elemental Deity was outclassed by the Green Goblin. What the fuck? Getting back to the Crystarium, it's actually worse here than it was in the original 13. That's saying something. Sure, it's not as convoluted looking as the first game, and now it has shit hidden. You can't see what the next level in each class will bring you until you already do it, so you're stuck guessing what your best class would be if you want your characters to gain more health quickly. Each class learns skills at different levels, but most of them are hidden until you reach a certain threshold, so you can find yourself dumping a lot of unnecessary experience into a class that has little benefits to that character. What's worse is that it requires more and more experience after each level up, which wouldn't be so bad, but it's so unbalanced here. Let's say you level up Commando so much that your next level requires 1200 Crystarium points, then you realize you haven't started leveling up Medic yet. To get a level 2 Medic in this scenario, you will still need 1200 Crystarium points. The points needed for each level is consistent throughout each class. Why? Why not have each class individually get progressively harder? Instead of sitting on 1000 Crystarium points because I need 1200 to go to the next level in anything, why not let me use some to level Medic up a bit, or Sentinel, or any other class that's lacking? I guess I can't complain too much though, it's not like you ever run low on experience. Leveling up classes is insanely easy. I maxed out my characters fairly early on without even trying. What's really annoying about the skills they learn is that they only go so far. There will be classes where after say level 40, there are no more skills to learn in that class. Well then what the fuck am I supposed to do with the other 59 levels? Really? You guys couldn't add more skills further down the road to encourage players to push that class further? You would think towards level 85 or 90, a Ravager would be able to learn Ultima or Meteor, but no, you get nothing for reaching level 99. You just get to go to the next class and waste your fucking time. After you learn all the skills, leveling just becomes raising your stats 1 centimeter at a time, and it's pointless. My characters were already pretty overpowered without pushing for those other levels. Now I just feel like I'm cheating. There's no difficulty in any of these battles. Sure, they can be time consuming, but not difficult. The only thing difficult is trying not to fall asleep as you breeze through the next 20 hours of the game with one hand mashing X and the other one jerking off. So I guess the combat is a little better than the first game, but it still sucks, and it still just makes me wish I was playing a better goddamn game. I feel so dirty. I need a shower. As you know, Final Fantasy XIII's world was pretty much non-existent. The whole world was nothing but a straight line for literally 20 hours of gameplay before you got to Grand Pulse, which sucked anyway because it was basically just a big sandbox with mediocre side quests that were meant to do nothing more than level grind and pad out the fucking game time. It was fucking awful. I hated it. Everyone hated it. That's why the common saying for that game was that, oh, Final Fantasy XIII gets good after 20 hours of gameplay. Which is a lie, because it sucked either way. So great, I guess Square Enix is going to do this to us again, huh? Is that... No! It can't be! Oh my god, it is! It's open space! Oh my god, this game isn't a goddamn tunnel. There's open space, towns and villages, and even shops. Oh my god, yes, this is a huge step forward. But honestly, it's still not that great. Each map is basically a sandbox of goals in different parts of it. Some maps will have other NPCs and some are just barren wastelands. Because of the time traveling aspect of this game, most of these maps are replayable in different time periods, so there isn't really all that much variety. It really boils down to the same handful of maps throughout the game. Sometimes you'll be able to explore more of a map in one time than another, but it's still the same map. What really sucks is that most of these maps have nothing to do with them outside of whatever story-based missions are there. Sure, some of them have side missions, but almost all of them are fetch quests that can be completed easily in the same map that you start them in. Half of the time you find them in one of these floating orb things. What jackass put a picture of his family in a floating metal orb? I think these orbs are glitchy. Sometimes they never even hit the ground. They just kind of float above it. Thankfully, unlike the last game, these orbs are only items. They aren't the save points or the shops. You can save anywhere, and thank God there are actually shops in this game. Well, one shop run by one person in every time period. No idea why. This is Chocolina, who is, wow, alright, very casually dressed. Whatever, I'd fuck her to Crazy Chocobo anyway. But she's the shop in this game. She sells virtually every type of item, so there's no need for multiple shops, which I guess is convenient, but it sucks the life out of the world. Could you imagine how empty Hyrule Castletown would be if all the shops and games were just two buildings? It would be a lifeless wasteland, which is what half these villages are anyway. Chocolina isn't even that great of a shopkeep because she almost always has the same shit. I bought new weapons from her and I didn't have another pair of weapons to buy for like 15 hours of the game. And half the time the new ones she gets are weaker. Why the fuck would I buy those then? And no, they're not weaker because I need to upgrade the weapons. That stupid shit is fucking gone, thankfully. So what's the point in her getting weaker weapons? Remember in older Final Fantasy games where the weapons you could buy at the shop would gradually get stronger the further you progressed throughout the game? It was awesome seeing your attack damage go up the further you explored. And if Sarah buys a new weapon, does that mean she's buying another Moogle? Or does Ma get some kind of new paint job or something? No, because he looks the same. So how is he getting stronger? Maybe Chocolina is injecting Mog with some hardcore steroids.
Heard you were talking shit, Kupo.
So yeah, new weapons are rare, but buying shit in general seems to be kinda pointless. Most of it is shit monsters commonly drop. I barely spent any gil in this game because I just acquired stuff as I progressed from random encounters. Phoenix Downs weren't really needed either because the game is really easy and learning the revive spell as a medic is also easy. So great, we have shops with nothing to buy. Yay, fun. I can't even pay for a prostitute in this game. The NPCs in this game are totally lifeless. They just stand awkwardly and have nothing interesting to say. Hell, half the time they'll just blurt things out as you're walking by. What's worse is that they only have like 2 or 3 lines and they just constantly repeat it every time you walk by. Okay, yes, chocobos are cute. I know. I want to fuck Chocolina in her choco nest. Got it. Shut the fuck up now, please. They're so annoying and poorly rendered. Maybe if they built a better world, the people could have interesting shit to say. If they wanted to do time travel, they should have done it like Chrono Trigger and had half these areas connected through some big map, and then you visit these same locations in different time periods instead of this shit. It's basically a case of selecting your own empty sandbox. Yay, boring. This game does have a sort of golden saucer-esque type of place called Serendipity. It's basically a casino in some time paradox thingy. Oh yeah, because that's what anyone would do. The time guru at the end of time in Chrono Trigger really should have just opened up a fucking water park. But with that aside, this place is still boring. The games are far less interesting than the ones in 7. There's this random woman who offers you gameplay enhancements if you bring her fragments, but it only looks like she gives you these enhancements when she feels like it, because I bring her fragments all the time just for her to say no. Fuck you, lady. This place also brings back chocobo racing, which I was super excited for because that was one of the most fun things to do in 7, but it sucks here. You don't really control your chocobo. All you really get to control is the boost, which drains quick as fuck. That's it. You can't even move them. Yeah, in 7 you can put them on autopilot, but you could also control them manually. Also, 7's tracks were fucking awesome. They took you through caves and rainbows and fucking space. This is going in a circle over and over. Great, it's Chocobo NASCAR. As if this game wasn't boring enough. The rewards you get for winning aren't all that great either. They're really basic or pointless shit. Also in 7, the Chocobo races were only half the fun. The fun in 7 was catching and breeding strong Chocobos at your farm, making them stronger, naming them, giving them their own sense of identity, bringing them with you on your adventure. They'd give you access to things in other areas that even your ship couldn't get to. Then you could race them in the colorful fun area with tons of shit to do with that rocking fiddle music. Winning a race is seeing all your hard work pay off and ending up with a gold Chocobo. This is depressing and lifeless. You took the wonderment of chocobo racing and made it boring. Yeah, thanks. I suppose if Square Enix did Lord of the Rings, they'd get rid of all those pesky action scenes and just turn it into a movie of guys walking. I get more life out of Andy Warhol's movie Empire, which is literally just a still shot of the Empire State Building for 8 hours. I can at least laugh at the fact that behind the camera we have some jackass who thinks he's making art. Here I get angry because this company used to make some of the best games ever with hours of additional content that offer rewards, but to be fair, the environments in this game are really nice looking at the very least. Academia looks pretty, even though the architect of this place was totally on shrooms when he designed it. Maybe this place would benefit from some more railings. If someone trips, they're as good as fucking dead in this game. They'll fall and get hit by a flying car. Wait a minute, flying cars? Is it me, or does this place look like Coruscant from the Star Wars prequels?
I don't like sand.
Oh, god damn it! It's not even as good looking as the Star Wars prequels, because this game has a serious issue with frame rate lag. Whenever there's a lot of stuff on screen, it slows down. I understand why, but maybe then don't program it so poorly. Have things load in the background. Wind Waker was able to do all that stuff back in the GameCube days, and it looked great. Hell, most modern games can load stuff in the background and not have this shitty lag, so why doesn't this game? Navigating a lot of these places can be annoying because there seems to be invisible walls everywhere. I can't jump from one ledge to a lower one most of the time because there's a fucking invisible wall. You're just limiting my roaming capabilities with all this bullshit. It really feels like they went out of their way to limit your freedom. If I wanted no freedom, I would have moved to North Korea. Alright, look, for all my bitching, I'll be the first one to say that this is a lot better than 13. But that doesn't make it good. It's simply not as bad as the last game. Hell, it's probably better than 10 as well, so take that for what it's worth. It's not the worst, but it ain't anything special. And now we come to the story of Final Fantasy XIII-2. If you remember correctly, I tore apart the first game for all of its awful plot holes rather than go over the story piece by piece. I did this because it would have just taken way too long to go over everything, and the game had very slow plot progression. This game is a lot of the same. The story is full of stupid plot holes and shitty plot progression, but whereas the first game had a complicated plot and simple characters, this one has more a simple plot and complicated characters. However, this is gonna sound confusing, I know. This plot is complexly simple and the characters are simply complex. The plot of Final Fantasy XIII-2 is simple when laid out in front of you, but it's made to sound confusing and complex with the way it is described and how the characters speak. Like the last game, there isn't much in the way of exposition, and you are once again resorting to the data logs to fill in holes. However, you aren't doing this as much because it is more about knowing the terminology than it is understanding the details. The terminology in this game is complex, but it all boils down to basic mechanics, so it's simple in terms of what it is, but complex in terms of how it is explained. As for the characters, they are simply complex. Meaning these characters are obviously more than surface level characters that have thoughts and motivations, but they aren't talked about, explained, or executed in that way. They all come off as very blunt and obvious, and it often feels like you're missing something because the game won't just come out and say it. This results in Final Fantasy XIII-2 coming off as even worse than its predecessor. That is amazing, because the first one is one of the worst written games I have ever played. The fact that this is worse is pure insanity, but I don't hate this one as much as the first one. Why? Because one, unlike the first game, there are almost no good ideas in this story at all, which makes the anger not even worth it. Two, it feels so half-assed and slapped together that you can't even get as mad as you are just disappointed for the lack of effort. And three, it's a sequel to a game that was already a huge piece of shit. At least with 13, it was a new world and entry to the series and carried the hopes that it would pull the series out of the spiral it seemed to be on after 7. And it had high hopes only to turn out to be a lousy, boring experience. 13-2, it wasn't insulting to fans of the original like Final Fantasy X-2 was to fans of 10. It was a continuation no one asked for. Now with that said, it's still bad. How bad? Well, let's briefly go through the plot. And yes, spoilers! The first cutscene in the game is possibly the most confusing. It starts as if it's a film already in progress. We are in a totally different location with lightning and armor, worshipping a god we never saw before. We then see an emo fuckboy in spandex burying a girl at sea in a way that's supposed to remind us of Aerith's funeral scene in 7, but because we don't know either of these characters, we don't care. Then the game turns into a battle with these two controlling monsters and doing some admittedly cool fight choreography, but it all boils down to nothing. We don't know why they are fighting or who this guy even is. Then in the middle of the fight, some random guy falls through the sky and suddenly is totally into the action as if he knows what's going on and knows the guy Lightning is fighting. Then she sends him off through some portal with the Moogle to recruit Sarah for some adventure or something, and then...
Be there for her, because I no longer can.
she dies. Then it smash cuts to Sarah living on Pulse, and her clothes are changed for no reason whatsoever. Then the Pulse town she lives in is attacked by monsters and she fights them off with Noel. What's confusing now is that everyone says that Lightning is gone and became Crystal with Vanille and Fang to hold Cocoon in the air, which didn't happen. Evidently, after the fall of Cocoon, Lightning was pulled through a time warp or something and took her to a place called Valhalla, which exists outside of time, to be a warrior to the goddess Etra or something like that, thus changing history and erasing everyone's memory of Lightning being present at the end of 13. Everyone except Sarah for some reason. She remembers everything and no one believes her. This should be the first sign that this game didn't need to exist. It's a retcon of the ending to the first game to create this. It's so stupid. What's even more stupid is that when Sarah tells Snow the truth, he literally leaves on an adventure to find Lightning immediately after she tells him. He doesn't pack his bags, get a survival kit ready, formulate a plan, he just gets up and leaves. There he goes. He kinda just fucks off. Anyway, Sarah basically believes in 2 seconds that Noel is from the future, Noel met Lightning, Noel can get her to her sister, Noel can help her travel through time, and Noel is actually doing all of this out of the kindness of his heart. Thank God Noel doesn't drive a van. Hey Sarah, let me find my puppy. So Noel and Sarah leave her time to go into the far distant future of 3 years later. Oh my God! 3 whole years?! The new Star Wars movie is out and I didn't even get a chance to complain about the trailers! No! So yeah, obviously they didn't exactly go very far. But now they are inside of Cocoon, which looks like a huge wreckage 5 years after the fall. Which begs the question, why do these people still live there? Yeah, Grand Pulse has monsters, but it seems like a better place to live. In fact, People stay on Cocoon to avoid being eaten by monsters, but the fal'Cie are all gone. And one of them was the one who made all the food for Cocoon. So what the fuck are these people eating to stay on Cocoon? Other people? Fuck going on Pulse. If you need to stay safe, take some of Donald Trump's advice and just build a wall. Anyway, they get attacked by a monster called Atlas, who is basically a paradox effect. A paradox effect is when different points in time collide with each other, thus causing an anomaly in the space-time continuum. To put it simply, it's like opening the door to the bathroom and seeing Hitler taking a shit. He doesn't belong there, it's bad that he is there, and you wish you could unsee it. And in case you forgot what a paradox is, don't you worry, this game will remind you all the fucking time.
Need the paradox to...
The paradox. In the paradox. That's your paradox.
Paradox. The paradox.
The paradox.
The paradox.
Paradoxes. The paradox. The paradox.
The paradox. The paradox is a paradox. Paradox. The paradox.
Paradox.
So in essence, every single level in the game boils down to going there, fixing a paradox, finding an artifact which unlocks the gates and lets you go to the next timeline. That's it for almost every single damn level. It's so shallow because there's no challenge, and the gameplay outside of battle is so stiff and lifeless that they are basically forced to mask it with all these shitty talking cutscenes that are redundant anyway. So in this time you meet Alyssa, who is a pointless character. She has some sort of emotional scene after we just met her, so it means nothing to us at all since we've known her for literally 5 minutes of gameplay. And then we go to the next timeline. Now we're in 10AF, which is 7 years in the future and 10 years after the first game. They're in a world where the paradox effect is this eclipse, so they head to some excavation site or something to fend off this monster. Wait, is that a boomerang? Oh no, does that mean... God damn it. Yep. We are reunited with Hope. Now not only is he 24 years old and the head of this research group, but he's also still using a freaking boomerang as his main method of defense. Thank God he's not in charge of the military, or else they'd all be using fucking Nerf guns. Hope basically tells us that everyone in 13 has disappeared. Fang and Vanille are still trapped in Crystal, Lightning is gone, and now evidently Snow and Saz and even Dodge have disappeared. Now, if only Hope could die, then I would really like this game. Oh, and get used to this bit of weird. Everyone acts as if Sarah was with them on their adventure in the first game. They all talk about what good friends they all are and how they all missed each other and all this shit, but they barely knew each other. Sarah was in Crystal for the whole game, and now everyone has disappeared in the second game, so it makes no sense. Some are kind of obvious connections, like Lightning is her sister, Snow is her fiance, and I guess she kind of had a scene with Vanille, but she barely knew Hope or Saz, and she literally never saw Fang. Not once!
But he was still the same Hope I knew.
You didn't know him! And if he's really the same person at 24 that he was at 14, then consider him a crying, whining pussy. So yeah, this deep friendship crap is totally unwarranted. Then again, so is the friendship of the characters who actually did know each other in the last game, so who am I to judge? Oh yeah, Alyssa is here too. Yay, I care. So Hope shows them a recording eerily similar to the Spheres in 10-2, and they go off to the future again in Erba, where they run into our villain Caius and Yule. Caius looks like every emo bird-obsessed Hot Topic anime fan's wet dream and has some of the weakest characterization ever. Basically, he's trying to keep this girl Yule alive. Yule is a time seers who can see all the futures, but because of the toll this vision takes on her, it causes her to die only to be reincarnated into basically the same exact girl and then die again. So Caius' plan is basically to destroy the space-time continuum so Yule can live. Wouldn't destroying all of time make Yule die?
I'm gonna tell him.
Don't you dare.
Also, how the fuck is Caius somehow fighting Lightning, get here to fight Sarah and Noel?
I'm not the Caius you once knew.
I am not the Yule you know.
Is anyone the anything I know?
If you change the future, you change the past.
Wow, no. That's not how it works. At all. At fucking all. That makes no sense. That's like saying if you can breathe the air, you'll drown. Or if you fall, you can fly. No, that's not right at all. And I could forgive this completely wrong and insane line, but they repeat it constantly. Stop telling me nonsense. Stop it. Any basic time travel story would tell you that that doesn't work. The Butterfly Effect understood time travel more than this piece of shit. I know I'm bitching a lot about this, but it's not nitpicking. It's a serious fundamental flaw in basic principles. It's like in Superman 4 when Lacey is totally alive and fine in fucking space. Do you understand how stupid this is yet? Do you need more examples? Do you need me to show you on a doll? Do I need to show you where the game touched me? I feel so dirty! Ah! Anyway, so Sarah and Noel now go to an alternate timeline of 10 AF where there is no eclipse, and they have to re-meet Hope and Alyssa again, which just becomes a pointless way to let the audience know that Sarah has the same powers as Yule, which causes her to pass out after they make it to the sun-left waterscape in the year 300 AF. And seriously, fuck these names. But then she wakes up and runs off to find Snow battling a giant jelly bean. And where the fuck did he get a new trench coat? Anyway, they defeat the jelly bean via quick time, and Noel lectures Snow on what an idiot he is, and he's right, but he's also overly mad at this guy. Seriously, he acts like Snow is the dad that just doesn't understand his poetry. Also, how the fuck did Snow even end up here?
So I started jumping through time, checking things out.
Okay, that sums it up. That's like asking a chef, how did you make this delicious gourmet dinner? And then he just says, I cooked it. It's not really helpful. I think Snow may have just accidentally fell through a blue portal hole. Basically, Snow is trying to fight off the jelly bean to stop it from eating the crystal pillar that causes Cocoon to fall. But hey, if it kills Manil, I'm with the jelly bean. So they find a gate, and it looks like Snow is going to be a new party member. Well, that's good. More variety is good. Plus, Snow wasn't that bad in the first game. So I guess I won't mind using him here.
Not you.
What?
Different gate. Somehow, I don't think this one's yours.
Are you shitting me? There's no reason for Snow not to be able to go here. Not his gate? Well, how the fuck are these other gates Noel and Sarah's? Do they have giant his and her gate signs? This is a lazy way of trying to rationalize the fact that Snow can't go. Whatever. Basically, you end up doing some more pointless time traveling just to come back and fight the giant jelly bean again. And you kill it only to find out that Snow is actually a Lassie again, and is also a paradox, and disappears in time. As Sarah is crying over the loss of her fiance, Noel tells her what an asshole and an idiot he was, and how he hated Snow based off the 5 minutes they knew each other. Jesus Christ, guy, give her a second to mourn, damn! So after Noel is ripping out Sarah's heart and crushing her feelings, they continue their adventure through time. Seriously, how did she not cut his fucking dick off after that? Anyway, they end up in the year 400 AF, in a future city on Pulse called Academia, which is under attack by an artificial fallacy that Hope created in the past that's turning everyone into Seeds. Everyone but Noel and Sarah, apparently. Now Caius appears, telling them that they should be dead, because he trapped them in the past, but now they are paradoxes and he has to kill them again. Don't worry, it's about as confusing as it sounds. So now he's trying to stop them. Is Caius retarded or something? If these two are time traveling, then obviously there will be different parallel universes. He should know this, so why is he so confused right now? If this game is using multiverse theory as a fact, then this shouldn't be too shocking. Side note, I hated this level, because the random encounters here are frequent and unavoidable no matter how far the enemy is out of your range. Fucking bullshit. So Noel and Sarah fight another giant monster, and Yule dies again. Are you sick of me saying that yet? Because I am. Almost every single level consists of going to a time, resolving a paradox, killing a boss, watching Yule die, and then going to the next timeline. Yeah, there are side quests, but like I said before, they're boring and are often as basic as kill this guy or find my thingy. So now Noel and Sarah go to the next town, which takes them to some tower with boring puzzles. They meet a robot clone of Alyssa who shows them footage of a Fausty murdering Hope and the real Alyssa years in the past. Evidently, Hope made an artificial fallacy to try and suspend Cocoon in the air once again to save Manil and Faye. For fuck's sake, really? First of all, how do you just build God? Do they have a God starter kit at Home Depot? Second, why would Hope make an artificial fallacy after all the shit they went through in the last game? It's such a contradiction after everything they've been through. It would be like if Batman started making new robotic Jokers to replace the old one. Kinda just recreating your own problem. And third, how did he not have a backup plan in case this shit happened? Fucking Dr. Giro at least had a shutoff switch for the cyborgs.
We call them androids.
Well, good for you, you're wrong.
So Robo Alyssa shuts the elevator off like what happened to the other Noel and Sarah, and they are left to die trapped in the tower. But they fix the elevator and continue on their way. Christ, how lazy and stupid were the other Noel and Sarah? They're like those millennials that would just die without their Wi-Fi. Take away electricity and they're just gonna give up on life. So they run into Kenny from South Park, Yule, who tells them they are doing the right thing and to keep changing time. So they go off through another gate and big shocker, Yule dies.
Oh my god, they killed Yule! You bastards!
So they end up in pretty much the same tower, but in some alternate future or past, or I don't even care anymore. They end up fighting the artificial fallacy, and they keep killing it, and it keeps reviving itself. In between each battle, you are given 4 options for a strategy, which include lure out the original, keep fighting, throw Mog, or scream at Hope. Wow, okay, so obviously we're not using that one since Hope's been dead for over 100 years, and I don't really think that this demigod will back off if someone throws a little plushie at him. So I tried luring him out, and that didn't work, and then I tried to keep fighting, but that didn't work either. Guess I have to throw Mog? This is fucking stupid. Yeah, no shit, it doesn't work. I could have told you that. Great, so my only other option is to scream at Hope. I already know this won't work, so great. I guess I'm gonna waste my time with this and it's just gonna end in a lame quick time event.
Hope! Can you hear me? I've got a bone to pick with you!
What the fuck? We beat God by yelling at a dead guy. This is fucking retarded.
I'm gonna kill you.
You know what? Fuck you, Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, well, that was easy. So Noel and Sarah go through another gate and end up in academia. Only this time it's not under attack and it's a busy city. And, oh, what the fuck? Hope and Alyssa again? Can we ever get away from you two? Oh, okay, yeah, we'll meet you at the Capitol. Okay, sure. Quick question. How the fuck are you alive? So basically, the reason the timeline is different is because Hope used the spear thing to see the future and saw Sarah yelling at him for the foul C. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? Is this supposed to be the big reveal of if you can change the future, you can change the past? The only way this would ever work is if you could see the future. But if you change the past, then you change the future too. So this fucking theory itself is a goddamn paradox. So they stopped building Robo-God and decided to find a new way to levitate Cocoon. First, they cryogenically froze themselves for 390 years. Yeah, I'm sure their friends and family were totally cool with that. And I love how they just showed up saying they were people from the past. Now give us all your scientific resources. We're in charge now, bitches. And everyone just went, yeah, okay, makes sense. Anyway, their new plan is to build a whole new cocoon and levitate it with these gravity ores that you have to get because they are spread over different regions at different times. Great, it's like the Triforce Quest in Wind Waker, except that game was awesome and this game sucks. Why don't they just re-levitate the old cocoon? Why create an entire new world when you already have one? It seems so pointless. That's like if my car ran out of gas, so I just bought a new car. And I'm gonna guess that these gravity cores don't last forever. Is Hope just gonna keep building more cocoons every time they run out? So once you gather all the cores, they are ready to levitate the new cocoon, and Sarah and Noel are ready to go through the final gate to confront Caius. Unfortunately for them, they get separated while traveling through time and end up in the void beyond time and space. Noel ends up being confronted by Caius and... Did Noel just die? Alright, sweet. Now if Sarah dies, I can stop playing this stupid game. No. Apparently Sarah and Noel didn't really die. Caius just put each of them in their own perfect fantasy world, hoping that they would think their whole adventure was just a dream and stay asleep forever. Sarah realized that this is all bullshit and runs into... Oh, fucking Christ, no! Not fucking Vanille! Take that Australian cotton candy haired lolicon fuck and throw her to the rape tentacles with all the other Japanese fetishes. Oh, and Fang is here too.
Oh, you've never met Fang before, have you?
Well, at least someone remembers that Sarah wasn't involved in the last game. I don't even know why Vanille and Fang bothered to show up. Sarah already knows she's dreaming, so they had no point in even appearing. I guess the creators really wanted us to get in that last minute jerk-off fuel. So Sarah takes a portal to Noel's dream world, where he is still friends with Caius and Yule, living in the last days of humanity. So Sarah goes to pull Noel out, and Yule dies, cause, well, it's the running theme of this game. So Noel and Sarah take a gate and end up back in Sarah's village on Pulse, only it's the future and it's in ruins. But in this village they find Lightning. I don't know how any of this works, because Lightning died in the beginning, but now she's a spirit in the future, but she's also a crystal statue in Valhalla. You know what? I don't care anymore. She could turn into broccoli and I wouldn't ask for an explanation. Lightning tells Sarah that she was basically kidnapped by the goddess XIII to become her guardian and defend her from Caius in Valhalla. So she fought to be freed from the control of a power-hungry demigod in the first game to being enslaved by another god in the sequel. Okay. So Lightning leaves and Sarah and Noel head to another gate to follow Caius. They are now back in Academia in the year 500 AF, and it looks a lot like Tetris blocks took over. Although, I'll admit, it looks kinda cool. You go through some really weak platforming sections to find Caius, who has turned himself into Mecha Godzilla with an army of monsters. The army shows up with Hope in charge, and seriously, why is he fucking everywhere? So Noel and Sarah jump on a ship piloted by... Oh, what the fuck? How did Saz get here? And Dodge? No, and even the baby Chocobo! What the fuck? Oh, look, wait, there's Jimmy Hoffa and Amelia Earhart, too. Saz flies them to Caius, who tells Sarah that she is also a time series destined to die young, but she doesn't care and keeps fighting him. Defeated, Caius creates a portal and they follow him to Valhalla for the final showdown. Caius and Noel fight, then Caius turns into 3 dragon guys in what's probably the most simple final boss battle I've played in a while. And once you beat him, Caius kills himself with Noel's sword. Sarah theorizes that Caius actually wanted to die in Valhalla so that when Yule was reborn, she would go to Valhalla to be with him where death doesn't exist. Or something. Even though Caius is now dead. I have no idea. Seriously, if this is what he really wanted all along, why didn't he just go to Valhalla and put a fucking bullet in his head and save everybody else the trouble? Back in Academia, Hope and his crew have successfully taken Vanille and Fang out of the crystal pillar holding up Cocoon, which begs the question, why didn't they just take them out of that thing hundreds of years ago and then worry about holding up Cocoon? And don't you fucking tell me that they were needed to keep the crystal pillar intact, because it was gonna crumble with or without them inside. So Cocoon falls yet again, but this time it is actually destroyed. All the while we are greeted with yet another pop song, and seriously, this one fits even less than the first one. This is some kind of happy, hopeful song as we're watching the world being destroyed. Yeah, cause every disaster needs more pop music.
Baby, you're a firework.
The new Cocoon is now levitating in the sky, and Noel and Sarah return ready to live their lives in the year 500. So I guess Sarah's just giving up on finding her sister, fiance, or seeing her old friends again. But unfortunately, the time-seeing abilities take its toll, and Sarah dies. You know, I could take this more seriously if the music wasn't so hilariously out of place. But really though, why did Sarah have to die when Hope is right there? Couldn't he just blow up for fuck's sake? But then things get weird. Evidently, someone played the Song of Storms and then everything gets dark. Then Mog dies right after he says the goddess XIII has died, then Noel dies, and Hope dies, and everyone dies. And seriously, it ends right there. Then it says... No! God damn it, why? They seriously made a sequel that nobody wanted to this sequel that nobody wanted. They gave us a trilogy that doesn't need to exist. Yes, the story continues in Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII-3. Fuck you. So with my ranting aside, Final Fantasy XIII-2 is a mediocre game at best and a boring game at worst. Sure, you could find some enjoyment out of it, but honestly, you could get these experiences out of much better games. While this game does have some pretty graphics and better leads than the first one, this one drives me nuts with its horrible story, laughable music, and piss-poor content. Maybe it could have worked better if they took the whole time travel aspect out of it. Maybe if it just turned into something as simple as a civil war between the people on Pulse, arguing how they should establish a new type of government, it could have worked much better. But as it is, it's just forgettable. I give it a 5 out of 10. So that's it for this episode of Ranting Spider-Man, and, get ready. You know it's gonna happen one day.